Hello, everybody. Welcome to the family business, Street Cred. And for all of you, I think many of you that are here right now are part of the Street Cred community. So we just want to welcome any newcomers, and you'll get a chance to meet everybody here that you see on the screen. You'll get a chance to meet them today. We have an awesome, we have just a tremendous lineup today. I'm really excited about it. We pulled it together, and thank you to all the panelists that are here. But first of all, this is our third annual Toast to Entrepreneurship in partnership with the Detroit startup community. And so we were honored to do this. You know, our goal is to bring a value to the small business community. And a lot of our speakers here today will do just that. And so we're just really, really grateful. And I've got 1 minute. One of our talks is gonna start. We ran over the intro a little bit, and that's because we wanted to make sure that we could roll out an awesome, clean program for all of our attendees. But there's some things, we're gonna have some exciting things that we're gonna do today. You're gonna meet some amazing speakers, business folk, and we're gonna get you involved. We hope that you can tell us a little bit about yourself in the chat. We're gonna shout you out when we can, because we hope that this is not just an opportunity to be on screen or be present watching others, but our goal is so that we can connect and create value in your business for you through the community that we're creating. So you'll get a chance to meet everybody. I think with our first interview, we already have our first guest here. And so I'm gonna keep it on time because everybody was tremendously busy. And our first guest is Mr. Andre Iguodala. And hello, I hope I said your name right, Andre.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, because when I first learned about you, they called you Iggy.
Yes, ma'am.
And when I met your mom, I told her that. And she didn't, she was like, I didn't name him that. So I haven't called you that in person. Actually, this is my first time to get a chance to actually engage you. But of course, my sons know of you very well. Of course, Jordan. So Jordan is here as well to kick us off and chat about the sixth man. So I'm gonna let Jordan start, and you see Joe and a couple other folks. So we're gonna let folks hear what you got to say. You there, Jordan?
Yeah, the Wi-Fi is going in and out. It's kind of bad right now, but yeah, I'm here. How everybody doing? How you doing, Iggy?
I'm good. Good to see you, fam.
Yeah, good catching up with you, man. You know, I didn't really get to talk to you in a minute. You know, we used to be teammates, and
yes,
you was always, you know, had that different perspective. I think that was needed, you know, in terms of just, you know, being around all the athletes. So it's definitely good to, you know, hear from you during Startup Weekend as we toast the entrepreneurs. And just want to catch up with you. How you doing?
Not too bad, man. They got me working this week. It's been a pretty hectic week, but it's been good. Been very productive. People don't know I do some. I've been investing in the tech startup space for like the last 6-7 years. Probably have about 40 companies in my portfolio that I invested in personally. As of recently, late January, early February, I joined Comcast Ventures, which is a single LP. It's under the large Comcast umbrella. You know, the cable company, everyone knows them as, but they have a large venture capitalist firm. It's a $500 million fund. And my particular role is under the Catalyst Fund, which is a fund for, we look for early stage companies, pre-seed, seed, Series A, African American, Latinx, and women founders. So we spend a good amount of our time looking for investors that, you know, look like myself and my partner in crime, Fatima Hussein. And we've been busy this week though. So they you know, I've been earning my paycheck there.
Yeah, okay. As you talk about, that's big time. And as you talk about finding investors that look like yourself, you know, I know you came out with a book that, you know, talked a lot about your life and, you know, figuring out these new things that, you know, the basketball world, the professional world throw you into. One question I wanted to ask, you know, I think that refers to your book, is like just the confidence in you as it was growing. You know how we do those fundraisers and sometimes it's like poker and these high level kind of fundraisers you be at. How was your confidence when you first started going to them, and how did you feel your confidence grew as you, you know, did them through the years?
That's a great question, actually. You know, I talk about in the book, the first one was kind of like the college. You know, we talk to the alumni that do the golf events, you know, with the head coach and this, the big time boosters that you really don't see too often. And then you're encountering these figures with a lot of wealth, and you just speaking a different language. You come from a different place, and, you know, they look at you as, you know, the basketball players want to help the team win. And, you know, is there a real relationship there, you know, and you're only 18, 19 years old, you know, and coming from where we come from, we don't interact with those individuals too often. So it was quite intimidating. And, you know, I'm just questioning everyone's motive in those situations because I'm not too familiar with them. But fast forward, you know, 17 years later, you know, I play golf just as much as I can, and I'm interacting with these dudes all the time. And the thing that I learned and I try to tell our youth is that, listen, you got just as much knowledge as they do in terms of your capacity to gain that knowledge. So, like, I always tell our youth, like, listen, Black people are the most powerful people on earth. And that's why they keep us at the bottom of the barrel, because they're afraid of, we come together and we do what we got to do as a collective. You know, we gonna keep our foot on their neck, you know, and I don't like saying that, but, you know, I just how I feel deep down inside. You know, I remember being in the White House talking to, you know, after we won a championship, we met Obama, and it was a Black kid in there. I was like, listen, man, we are the most powerful people on earth. You know, like, all the resources come from one place, it's Africa. You know what I'm saying? And we built this country with our bare hands for free. Like, all the amazing things we did, they blew the noses off the pyramids. You know, them our noses. You know, they didn't want people to know that's what we built that. They still can't figure out how it was built. You know, electricity, you know, all the technology that was built by us and taken by us. So, you know, that's kind of I kind of went deep with that one. That's kind of how my thought process is. You know, when I'm interacting with these other individuals, it's like, listen, like, now that I know, I just need access. Because I can be successful in any platform. It's just we never had the access being in America over the history of being here.
Man, that's huge. That's a great, you know, some notes to take along with this. You know, one thing, you know, as I get off into this, you know, I'm in, you know, real estate, doing family business, and it's hard. And I'm still playing basketball, and it's sometimes hard to be in both while you playing basketball. So how did you like in the heat of playing high level basketball, how do you attend to that work when it's needed to be attended to?
Man, I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, that's one thing I'm still working on, like, daily basis. And, you know, I'm married to a sister, and she don't play no games. It's like, listen, you gotta come home with these kids and you need to see dad. And I'm juggling that on a daily basis. And one thing I try to do is take advantage of, you know, just any situation, whether it be good or bad. So, you know, we in this COVID situation, it's like we can't go outside, you know, you can't, you know, really get into too much. So I've just taken that opportunity to say, hey, what can I make the most of my time with? You know, now that I'm insulated inside, it's like I can read more than ever. I can catch up on my work with basketball and, you know, with the Comcast. I'm taking pictures every day. You know, I've taken 2-3 pictures already today. I got to do, it's like real due diligence, real homework on these companies. And it's like, they got me putting together PowerPoint presentations, which I've never done. So it's kind of like challenging me. But at the same time, it's like, why not right now when we got all this time? So, you know, that's just the constant struggle, man. I don't have an answer for that one. I'm trying to figure that one out. The wifey in my head.
Hey, yeah, man. Well, I don't know if my brother got a question, but I know it's good catching up, man. You know, we as teammates, you know what I'm saying, playing. I think the time when I was there was such an interesting year because you seen how powerful the team was, how talented it was, and it was, you know, reaching that surface. So, you know, I definitely want to, you know, share some of that time whenever that opportunity comes because I think, you know, walking in that locker room and seeing all that talent was crazy.
Yeah, man, it's good seeing you too, man. I've always been a big fan. I've always been watching you from afar, man. And you're the first cat I've seen wear some dress shorts with some Gucci loafers, man. And you rocked it like perfect. Like, man, he got it. I've always got it on you, man.
Appreciate it.
Well, yeah, I'm Joe Crawford. I'm his older brother, man. And, you know, it's just been a pleasure watching you being able to juggle both sides. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, I played at the University of Kentucky. I was blessed to be drafted by the Lakers. Didn't stay too long. But, you know, I kind of went through that culture shock as far as going from the inner city of Detroit to going to the University of Kentucky and not knowing how to really communicate, you know, what I, you know, wanted to do on the court or off the court. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's been like a struggle that, you know, things we've been going through and learning through each other. We share stories with each other every day. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we just want to be some of those people that pass the knowledge on to the next generation.
For sure, for sure. And I think you hit it right on the head. You know, a lot of guys just try to figure out that identity outside the game, which can be hard. You know, I was just fortunate. I tell young guys all the time, like, you know, surround yourself with older guys with a lot of knowledge and who hold you accountable. You know, we get caught up sometimes, and, you know, I've been guilty of it, is you have one or two yes men, and it kind of like, it really hurts you in the long run, you know. So just finding the right people that hold you accountable, find your strong black woman that'll hold you accountable, and that's what I try to do. This partner who, you know, helped me throughout the whole thing, challenged me more than anything. Like, yo, you got to read this book, you got to read this, and then early on you're like, what am I reading it for? But then when you start getting these meetings, then you start understanding what these people are saying. You're like, oh, okay, that's why I read that book. So from there, you just start a different type of discipline. It's the same as getting up 500 jump shots. You just got to, you know, transfer that energy.
Right. Mm. Do any of our people who tuned in got any questions?
Not in the chat just yet. But I thought what was really interesting, what you said, Andre, about how you framed in terms of the refs. When you were talking about the refs and how they looked at you, or they just reminded you of the police that you recall and how they looked at you in your neighborhood.
Wow.
I think your book is so timely. And I just want you to know that we're going to give out a few copies as prizes today. I know you can't be with us the whole time, but we're going to make sure some folks walk away with your 6-man book, because the little bit that I got a chance to read, I think is right on time.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that. And I think it's just being like, you know, being a black man, and, you know, it was said, you know, being a conscious black man is to be, you know, the most feared, and those are the most fearful moments, is knowing that you have the knowledge and knowing that, you know, what you know, they knowing you know it can make you a target. And you start to look at certain things in a different light. And, you know, you just got to keep it educating yourself. And the main thing I try to do is just keep trying to pass information, because, you know, if one or two of us only have information, then, you know, we can be made obsolete. But when we spread the information to us all, they can't stop us all. So it's just about, you know, continuing to build and build it up.
Amen. That's what this is about, too. So we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. You know, I'm gonna I don't want to take up too much time, because I could ask you a few more questions, but the young folks, I'm gonna let y'all.
Got a quick one. I'm Willie Mac. I'm the youngest brother. Athletes, and I'm in the music. In our journeys, we gain a lot of knowledge through just trying to become successful. And you use that knowledge to put it in a book, you know, for people to, you know, learn from you. And I was just wondering, like, how was the process of writing that book?
It was a good process, man. It was like therapy, you know, like that's kind of frowned upon within our community. It's like, you know, we don't go to, you know, therapy and we don't talk about our issues. So we kind of internalize everything, and eventually it spills out in a way that we really can't control. So it was kind of therapy for me. It was a good process because I found I had a ghostwriter who essentially just wrote down my words and just kind of organized the whole thing. I found him through an article and just hearing how he spoke about a rapper in Atlanta that got killed. But he put it so eloquent. I'm like, oh, that's the guy. So I actually found him just reading. And we would meet like twice a month or every week, some months, depending on the season, spend like an hour and a half. And he just had these trigger questions that would like trigger a story, a situation I dealt with racism, or a story that I dealt with a coach, or, you know, the college situation with boosters. So he just did a really good job of just asking the certain questions. And, you know, in the end of it, I'm like, man, I just spilled out, you know, a lot of stuff that you forget sometimes. Like you forget like your third grade basketball coach played a pivotal role in your life. You know what I mean? Or you forget like, you know, your mom sacrificing for something. And you was like, man, she really sacrificed. And, you know, you take stuff like that for granted, but when you can really just think about it and you talk about it, I see you, mama. And like, but it's like you get a different type of appreciation when you can kind of just put your thoughts out into words and just kind of express yourself.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. I want to toast to you, man. Appreciate you. I know you got a lot going on each day. For you to take the time out, you know, as we try to grow our business and the people, entrepreneurs that's involved in this, man. We appreciate it.
Man, thank you all, man. Sorry I got to jump, but reach out. Jordan, reach out to me anytime, man. You got my number, man. I'm always going to hit you back, man. So we family.
He's going to miss our toast. He's going to miss our toast. We are toasting you. Some people got their glasses ready.
I got some drink, but I got some wine here that's here, so I'll toast with you.
And we are toasting. We're toasting with the McBride sisters, Black-owned business out there where you are.
Okay, yeah, toast to that.
Yeah, we got some of that. So we're gonna send you a bottle too.
I appreciate it. Y'all take care now.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Your mama is the best.
She here, I think. So hi, mom. All right, take care.
Let's see if she's here. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, get work done. Okay, that was you know, that we kind of stayed on time with that, and we do have a few minutes, so I just want to shout out some of our folks that came in. We have Tracy Patterson. Her business is Global Kids Explore, and her daughter is an entrepreneur. She's a DJ, and she does, her company is DJ Z Light. So make sure if you're here and you have a business, put that in the chat. Tell us how to get you on the IG, or however you want people to reach out to you and learn more about your business. So do that. And let's see, it's 4:26. I think we got, I think I got the wrong schedule. Oh, no, I don't. Let's talk to Tiffany, since we got Tiffany here. Tiffany is another one of our roll calls. She's a member of the STREETCRED community, and came to us during Detroit Startup Week last year. And just really quickly, you know, she has pitched before Shark Tank, and recently, I shouldn't even say recently, you spent the whole last year traveling around the states because she has her product in Walmart. So I'm gonna let you tell the rest, Tiffany, because I can't do it like you can do it. I can't hear you.
You got it muted.
Oh.
She got to unmute.
You got to unmute.
There we go. Yeah, we're unmuted. So, hi everyone. Thanks so much for having me back. It's truly a pleasure to be with everyone, and it's great to be back. This is, as you said, 1 year later, so we are still excited to be on Walmart shelves. throughout the entire country. And our product is right here. I've got it pictured. This is Glam. Glam, give love to all mankind. It's an all-natural body scrub. Our company is certified with the WBENC as a certified woman-owned business, and we're minority-owned as well. And so I was blessed with the opportunity to pitch to Walmart. They said yes. So again, we are in Walmart stores all over the country. So wherever you're watching from, if you have a chance, please stop by. And also, we are so excited because this year, in response to the Black Lives Matter movement, the big box retailer Sephora has decided to dedicate 15% of their shelf space to Black-owned beauty brands. And so we are encouraging anyone and everyone who has a cosmetic product to get out there, let them know we have to represent. They've dedicated the space, and now it's our opportunity to step up. Also, Sally Beauty, the same thing for all of the people watching who have cosmetic skincare lines. You want to get out there, you want to pitch to them, you want to let them know we are here. If you're dedicating shelf space, all we need is an opportunity. So I just want to definitely encourage all of the business owners who have brands that are owned by Black businesses. Let's get out there. This is our time. This is our season. We want to get out here and we want to start to blaze the trail for those who are going to come behind us as well. So thanks again for having me on. I'll be available throughout the entire session to answer any questions that anyone may have as well.
So you all heard that. Feel free to drop some questions in the chat, and we'll get them to Tiffany in between our rapid fire chats with some of our guests today. We have a few more minutes before Leah, you are going to take the microphone and talk with someone we're excited to see. Do you want to, before that happens, because we have about 6 minutes, I see, is there anybody we should bring on real quickly as part of the roll call? I see Amber. Hi, Amber.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Happy startup week.
We are excited to have you as one of our guest hosts this year. And she's going to be, guide us in our traditional toast at the end of the program. So we're excited to have you do that because we know you know how to get it in. So okay. Thank you. But if you have anything you want to say really quick, you have the floor.
Well, I'm just really grateful to be here. Thank you all for having me part of this programming. It's so nice to see so many faces, some I know and some I don't, especially during this time when we've been quarantined. I know a lot of folks have taken some time to reevaluate their business and their business models and see how digital and social media can be a part of that. So I'm just excited to be here and usher us in for the closeout toast. So thanks again for having me.
Is anybody else checking the chat for any of the businesses that they want to shout out? I see Kenny Hampton, and Kenny he also has a new book out. Kenny, you need to drop the name of your book into our chat box so that we can share that and tell people where they can get it. Anybody else want to shout out? This is roll call.
I think I can go ahead and just introduce myself before I hop into my conversation with Tracy.
Okay.
So my name is Leah Hill. I'm the founder of Kindred Media Entertainment, a Detroit business that I started really with the intention after graduating from college, wanting to move back to the city and wanting to build something that I think was really reflective of Black culture and especially Black youth culture. And under that umbrella, I have thrown Kindred Music and Culture Festival, which unfortunately won't be happening in the summer, no thanks to COVID, but it's okay. I'm excited for next year, which really I created as a way to, I'm all about building platforms for others, and that's kind of, I would say I'm not necessarily the most talented. I can't sing or dance, but I can create a place for people who are able to do those things. And the festival was really able to, allow me the space to create a moment and a space and time for Blackness to be celebrated in Detroit in a very authentic way. I've also done a few other events, worked with Essence to throw an event during the 30 Under 30, and just under Kindred, looking to always, again, build platforms and ways to support Black culture in the city of Detroit and elsewhere.
Awesome. And we are also glad to have you here as our guest host.
Yes, I love Street Cred.
Yeah, so we appreciate that. And you brought Amber to us, and you brought Tracy Reese to us.
Yes.
And I know there was a lot of feedback that I got on the post because we had Tracy Reese coming.
Tracy is wonderful. I'm quite lucky because she's my cousin. So I've known Tracy my whole life, and I'm actually doing some work with her now, and I'm excited to talk with her because she's doing some really cool things. And I think she has a great perspective on the fashion industry, and she's beginning her second business, the fashion industry, and I think that's an interesting place to be right now.
Okay, so she's coming on in 1 minute, but it's time to get our toast on. We can toast those individuals we've named so far, and we can toast Amber, who is here with us and as our guest host, and Leah, and we got to toast Andre. So, does everybody have their bubbly?
Here's my bubbly.
You guys get the memo?
I just want to shout out Kenny's book.
Remember, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Jay.
I said real quick, I want to shout out Kenny Hampton's book because he put it in the chat, The Underdog Mentality, Keys to Defeating Life's Giants. And you can find it on www.kennyhampton.com.
Awesome. He did the right thing. And just so that you know, people, when you enter into the chat, we will be selecting prize winners. So that's our motivation for getting you to sign into our chat. And so far, we have some of the items that we have to raffle off. We're going to raffle off, since we had Andre here, we're going to raffle off his 6-man book. And for those who don't know, I'm an author as well. Actually, I made a contribution to this book. So I have 1 full chapter in here. So that's another item we're going to raffle off. And we're going to raffle off the McBride Sisters, Black-owned winery in Oakland, California. And so that is why we selected them for our celebration and toast today. And we bought this from another Black business, which is House of Pure Vin. And I think I'm running over because it's 4:35. It's time for Tracy. So I know she's here. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Leah. We'll get back to the toast later.
Hi, Leah.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So as I was saying, I'm like, me and Tracy, we talk all the time and we're always getting into side conversations. So I'm excited for us to be able to share this conversation with everyone who's joined us this afternoon. Like I was saying, I'm lucky enough to have Tracy as my cousin, but I'm also doing some work with her right now for her new line, Hope for Flowers, which is a Detroit-based brand. It's based in responsible design. And I think before we get started, I want to let you just introduce yourself and say anything you think is pertinent before we get started.
Hi, I'm Tracy Reese, cousin to Leah Hill, and honored to be that cousin, and so happy to have you working with me on this project.
Yeah.
As Leah mentioned, I've started a new brand that's responsibly designed because it's time for the fashion industry to wake up to the damage that we're doing to the planet and to all the people along the supply chain who are mostly people of color and mostly women. It's 80% really women of color that do most of the production of all of the clothing that we wear. And it's time that they're respected and paid a living wage and have quality of life. And that's important to me for women all around the world, but especially to women right here in Detroit.
Yeah. So I think to kick off, I would like to just hear you speak a little bit about the transition from your Tracy Reese brand to Hope for Flowers and what that looked like and the decision-making behind it. And just the process, because I think one of the interesting things right now is like, you are very established within the fashion industry. You've had a long 20-year career. You've dressed Michelle Obama and countless other celebrities. But you made this really critical decision and you have really pivoted. And I think you've done it beautifully. But it's a big decision, and it's also a test of taking, your experience with Tracy Reese and implementing it in a, a responsible way with Hope for Flowers.
Right. And it was a big decision, but it seemed to come so naturally. And, my old brand, Tracy Reese, and its sister brand, Plenty by Tracy Reese, we were operating that company for 20 plus years, 23, I think, by the time I stepped away. And I started it by myself with funding from my father, Claude Reese. And, eventually joined with business partners, and we organically grew the business to a peak of about 60 million retail sales, which is a fair figure. And, throughout the decades, we've seen so many changes in our industry, but I think the largest impact on our industry has been fast fashion. And by that, I mean H&M and Zara and, so many others that are making basically disposable clothing, selling a lot of inexpensive clothing that they want you to wear a few times, throw away, and then buy something else. Or where you might formerly have purchased one item that you really love, they want you to buy 3 or 4 that are just okay. And maybe the quality isn't there. And, more fast fashion advanced, the greater impact it had on our business and a lot of businesses in the fashion industry. When you're working with factories that are paying a living wage and you're, using better textiles, the pricing of your clothing is going to be on the higher side. And most of what I've traditionally have been making hasn't been accessible to everyone, but I knew that we weren't abusing the system or the supply chain. So if a dress is costing $300, I know that the labor, I'm paying a fair labor price. I'm paying for better piece goods. I can, track everything. There's a certain amount of transparency in the supply chain. But what happened when fast fashion entered the arena, it just changed the dynamic of everything. And I think that now, we have a whole generation of consumers that are trained on fast fashion and disposable clothing. And it's a cycle. And, between Instagram and always wanting to look like you're turning up in something new and fresh, and just, the unbelievably cheap prices, I think we've grown addicted to this sort of throwaway culture. And we're buying into a system that's actually abusing us as people. And the more I learned about this, the more my business was impacted by it, the more I knew that I wanted to run a different type of business entirely. And my partners actually had approached me about making some inexpensive product for Costco and for TJ Maxx. And most people don't realize that these large retailers, they actually, even though they have brands that you might recognize, that product is made especially for them. So it's not like you're catching this great deal because, they had a few leftover pieces. They're actually contracting brands to create inexpensive product for them. And they're selling them, selling those products at a lower price because they're cheaper quality and they're buying mass quantities. And the average consumer doesn't know that. That's not how it's advertised. But my partners approached me about making blouses for Costco. And Costco wanted to buy tens of thousands of blouses from us for $10 a piece. And if you know anything about manufacturing and production and you walk this backward, I knew that a sewer probably couldn't make more than 50 cents for sewing an entire blouse.
Ooh.
Okay, the fabric cost could not be more than like $1 or $1.50. Because we're talking about sewing these things overseas, importing them to the US. You know, you can only use polyester. It's the only thing that's cheap enough. But poly comes in with a very high duty to the US. So it almost, you know, it adds 30% onto the cost. And by the time all the markups are added in, you know, it's the only way you can sell something for $10 is if you get it from the factory for $3.
Right.
You know, so when we walk back this basic math and we realize that it's all Black and brown people who are being abused in this system, I was like, you know, I was flabbergasted. I was like, why do we need to be making $10 blouses? I don't know how, and I don't want to know how. I don't want to learn how. That's not why our design team and our salespeople, you know, wake up and come into this office every day. This is not the dream. So, you know, we really had a huge argument about it because they thought it would be a great revenue stream. And, you know, there began a break in our relationship of 20 plus years because we were definitely committed to completely different paths. And at the same time, I was learning more about sustainability and learning about responsible design through a program I was a part of at CFDA that was sponsored by Lexus, actually. And I knew that I wanted to make that my future. And, you know, our business had grown to a certain size that the pace of keeping up with all of the development and all of the demands of the business were taking me away from the part of the work that I really love, which is actually, you know, imagining and developing and researching and actually designing, you know, and I was just squeezing in the time to design at 10 o'clock at night or on the weekends on my free time because my office hours were filled with so many other responsibilities. And I decided, hey, time to step off the hamster wheel and really look at the rest of my career in a new light. And I knew that not only did I want to slow down the pace of what I was doing, I wanted to be creating less product that had greater meaning. And I wanted to be in Detroit more, which is where I'm from, where my family is. And I'd purchased a home here. And it's like, how do I, you know, use my time in Detroit wisely? How can I have a reason to be in Detroit more often? The other thing that I found coming home more often was that I'd go into, you know, a restaurant here and there and new places opening up and I'd be the only Black person there. And I'd walk in and people would turn around and look at me like, oh, you know, interesting. And I'm thinking, okay, this is Detroit. This is an 80% plus Black city. Why am I the only Black person in this new restaurant?
Right.
You know, and most of the servers are white, you know, it's like, okay, that's backward. And I started to have, you know, meetings because I was involved, became involved with some other organizations and all of the stakeholders were white. And I'm thinking, okay, this is a renaissance for Detroit, a Black city, but there are no Black stakeholders at the table. And all of these grants and all of these incentives and all of these, you know, matches and the list goes on and on are going to largely white entrepreneurs. And it, you know, not to take anything away from white entrepreneurs, but in an 80% Black city, why don't we have equity in all of this largesse that has, you know, sprung up in Detroit? And that troubled me a lot. And I definitely want to be a part of changing the face of, you know, some of this renaissance and making sure that we as Black people have equity in all of this economic opportunity and growth. And that's what I'm about here in Detroit. So my new business, Hope for Flowers, is a responsibly designed brand. And I'm using sustainable textiles and really rejigging my whole supply chain, making sure that, you know, we are who we say we are, and that, you know, everything is being produced responsibly. And ultimately, I want to be producing here in Detroit. So I'm building my own little ecosystem here for Hope for Flowers, where in-house we will be doing some small production. We'll be working with artisans and craftspeople right here in Detroit and collaborating on design and product. And we'll be employing Detroiters in every facet of the business and training where necessary. But there's already a lot of talent here. And I think that, you know, a lot of the skills that already exist here in Detroit can be, you know, they can be translated pretty laterally, you know, with just a little bit of training into how it works in the garment industry. So I'm in the process of creating all that now, and we're, you know, looking at funding and funding opportunities, and also working with organizations who are like-minded to kind of create a new future and for fashion and for design, and really let the world know that, you know, Detroit is a viable option. That there's a lot of talent here. There's obviously a lot of heart and a lot of grit here. There's a lot of history here. But Detroit deserves to be celebrated on the world stage, and I want to be a part of that.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think you're doing a wonderful job, and there's been, you know, plenty of articles about Detroit, and you're always in how fashion has a place here. And I think, you know, you talked about production. One of the things is Detroit is a manufacturing city. That is, you know, what we're built on. And if we can transition into garment making, then that opens up a whole new industry and another way for Black people, especially who are usually, you know, skills trade, to begin making money and to begin this industry right here. So I think that's huge, and you being here is huge, and you've made a commitment, and it's really clear.
Yeah. Well, you know, Detroiters love fashion too. I mean, I didn't come out of nowhere.
Love fashion. That is very true. There's so much room to build here. And I know we're running towards the end of our time, but I know you're also working with Nest, which is currently, I believe, looking for makers in Detroit. So if you wanted to speak about that before we go, just a way of people who might be interested to get involved with the fashion and garment making.
Definitely. Nest is a nonprofit based in New York. Their website is buildanest.org, I believe. And they work with artisans and craftspeople all over the world to help people scale their businesses and connect them to customers. They have the support of everyone from West Elm to Target. And they're running a program that they call Makers United, which they launched previously in Birmingham and also in Austin, Texas, Austin, San Antonio. And they're going to be launching this program right here in Detroit, and we're in the early launch stages for the program. But the idea is to reach especially women of color. So, you know, Black women, Indigenous people, people of color here in Detroit. And we know we have, you know, many immigrant communities as well. People who have a craft or a talent that perhaps could be supplementing their income or bring them some economic independence. And a lot of times, you know, you're a single person, you're a one woman or one man show, and you need support and services, and you also need to be connected to communities. So what Nest is going to do with Makers United here in Detroit is, you know, we're already starting outreach to find interested parties. So if you're out there and, you know, you're making jewelry, or you're printing textiles, or you're weaving, or you have some kind of art or craft that you'd like to bring to the public stage, Makers United could be a program that helps you build your business and helps connect you to a lot of the services that are already offered here in Detroit, but you might not know about. Yep. Or you might have challenges connecting to. So, you know, they're all about what they call capacity building, which is, you know, building your capacity to reach your customer and fulfill their orders. So I encourage everyone to go to buildiness.org. We're outreaching through a lot of the organizations that you already know to make sure that the word gets out, because we'd like people to fill out a survey and just talk about what their needs are and what they hope they can get from this program. And we'll be launching into it this summer digitally because of COVID. But it's not just a one-time thing. They'll be, here in Detroit for a couple of years, because it's not really about, jumping in and jumping back out. It's about really being there and seeing some results.
Yeah, well, I'll make sure I drop the link in the chat too for everyone. But I know you have to run, but thank you so much for joining us. It was always
Thank you, Cousin Leah.
Yes, thank you
for inviting me, and it's nice to see all these beautiful faces. And one day we'll all hug in person.
Right. All right. Bye, Trace.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're on mute, Mama. You're on mute. Quick roll call moment while she takes herself off mute. Terry Marcray, I hope I pronounced that right, the owner of Solid Foundations, tutoring ACT and SAT prep, tutor 4-year-olds to adults. They tutor in all subjects in one foreign language, which is Spanish, and they help students become successful in school. Athletes become eligible to play in the NCAA, and they get 160 to 200 students into college each year. So that's Terry McCray, Solid Foundations Tutoring. You're still on mute, Miss Crawford.
Oh my God. So you all didn't hear my cork pop or anything?
No, we saw the text.
Okay. But I do want to say about Terry. Terry has put several athletes into college, and they have gone on to the pros. And I know she's done a number of, she's had a number of those successes with the football guys. I think you all know Terry's family, Legendary T.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's a few other people on here. Actually, Andre's mom, she left information about another book that is written out of their family. And it is a children's book, Mickey P. Party Seasoned. And she said the book can be purchased at fabenterprise.com. So I want to make sure that everybody checks out these chats. And please put your information in the chat, folks, because we really do want to make connections that lead to collaborations and revenue generation. So I think everybody can feel that. The next speaker that we have, and I don't see yet, would be C.J. Watson.
Yeah.
So, since he's not in, I don't know why that would be.
Yeah. If he's not in yet, we could move on to the farming with Ramel and Rail.
I think that would be awesome. I see Ramel got his name changed. Jordan needs to change his name.
Yeah,
you got Jordan at Street Credit, Detroit.
That's my guy's name. Yeah.
Ramel.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna, Joe, if you want to introduce the agriculture entrepreneurs to the Street Cred community, I'm ready to hear what they bring to us today.
Okay. Yeah, these are two guys I went to the University of Kentucky with. Me and Ramel kind of got into the agriculture business by default, you know. But when we got in there, we learned a lot, you know what I'm saying, and we really became interested and really wanted to learn. So it's funny, this turn around 10 years later, Ramel being an owner, co-founder in App Harvest, which they're looking to have the largest, what, Ramel? The
largest fruits and vegetable facility, controlled environment facility, greenhouse, whatever you want to say.
Right, and then we got Rail. He's out in Tennessee, and he's in the hemp business. He owns his own farm, which is about 40 acres, I think, right now, and in the CBD arena, and is looking to educate and distribute CBD to people across the United States.
How you doing? Thanks for having me, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on, Ramel?
What's up, my guy? Good to see you, dog.
Good to see you too.
All right.
Yeah, so Rail, if you want to just jump into it first, man, just tell us how you got into it and just educate everybody on the industry.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Jarrell Howard. I am the founder and CEO of Gold Standard Farms. We are a premium farm boutique that specializes in hemp cultivation. The farm has actually been in my family for 80 years. It was founded by my great-grandfather and great-grandmother in 1941. And for 80 years, we specialize in traditional agriculture, much like Ramel will be speaking about. And in 2018, there was a law passed, the 2018 Farm Bill, which legalized the cultivation and distribution of hemp. And we were looking to make a pivot within our family to maximize the amount of land that we had profit-wise. And we started out on this journey in 2018. We're here in 2020. Our launch was just Juneteenth. We had a great first weekend of sales, and we look forward to growing a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. And Ramel, just speak on, like, how did you stumble into this venture you're in that's really huge and is going to, help out many inner city kids, eat healthier and just know how to take care of themselves?
First off, I would like to say congratulations, Rel, on the Juneteenth opening. That's big time. Much love. So again, my name is Ramel Bradley. I'm a co-founder and community director with a company called App Harvest. And simply what we're seeking to do is revolutionize American agriculture as we know it. As we all know, with these unprecedented and uncertain times, that it is all more important that we build a resilient food system. So we're doing that by, we're actually just finished constructing what will be the largest controlled environment agriculture facility in the world. We'll be growing about 50 million pounds of tomatoes. And as Joe mentioned, we'll be distributing that across 80% of the U.S. Eastern Seaboard. Joe said that we stumbled into this, but Joe know better than I do that don't nothing happen by accident, and this was all with a purpose. And my fight on my passion for food justice and food resiliency started when I was young. My grandmother started a mission here in Brooklyn, New York. Sorry about that. My grandmother started a mission here in Brooklyn, New York, and she started it out of her kitchen, just cooking and feeding people. She didn't have no discrimination against who was gonna get the food. It was, if you was hungry, she was gonna feed you. So me and Joe, we went to UK to hoop and become professional athletes and got our degrees in agriculture. And 10 years later, to be doing what we're doing right now and to be a part of this project is very humbling, and I couldn't be more proud of the work.
Yeah, man, it's amazing, you know what I'm saying? Just being able to be in both of you guys' lives and helping both of you journeys, you know what I'm saying? And to see, how far you come, you launching on Juneteenth, and Ramel, you're finalizing the stages to open the largest controlled agriculture building in the United States is amazing. You know, just kind of enlighten them on the journey, you know, because it wasn't easy. You know, it was struggles, you know, had to fight through a lot of things and, you know, to get to this stage. So just kind of educate people, whoever want to go first.
So for us, one of the things that I wanted to be able to do is build up on the legacy that my family has set forth with me. Myself, I was in the sports industry for a long time. As you said, you know, we all met at the University of Kentucky where you guys were the superstars and I was the student manager. So I was always kind of strategic and behind the scenes on anything that I wanted to get forth. So when the opportunity presented itself for us to get licensed and to become a licensed hemp farm, I immediately said, okay, I want to make sure that I have the blessing of my family, which, you know, they were extremely supportive. And then the meat and potatoes came in. Who do I go to that I trust enough to build and that has the same mentality? For us, we wanted this to be a stepping stone where we can help advance and propel our people's dreams into reality through agriculture, right? And, you know, I went and talked to a lot of my childhood friends, and those are my partners. I reached out to Joe, and, you know, Ramel and I will connect also about some ways that we can collaborate. But the journey itself for us was to make sure that we're doing something that has a bigger purpose than just making money. We wanted to leave an impact, and we wanted to do something for our people to help set up an economic ecosystem amongst ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Joe, can you repeat the question one more time, please?
No, it was just, you know, as far as like, you know, you guys, you know, as far as you opening up your facility in a couple months, just talking about the process it took and some of the struggles and some of the things that you had to do to continue to get to this point.
I would say that, so especially from going from professional athlete to co-founder of, you know, a large company. So actually, I stopped my basketball playing career late 2016, and I did that because one of the obstacles that was becoming increasingly difficult for me was my family. You know, my closest friends are battling preventable diseases, obesity. My grandmother, person who's probably the single most important person in my life, you know, she goes to dialysis 3 times a week. So it was, you know, me coming home and then being able to get on a plane and go to another country and have access to healthy food was things that I just began to realize. And I began to just value my family time and the time that I was dedicating to my community a lot more than playing basketball. And it just so happened that, you know, through that journey of supporting my family and understanding food, you know, I realized that it was the problem. Food was a problem. You know, things that we've been eating is a problem. And at the same time, I also realized that food was the solution. Mm-hmm. And one of my boys, Jonathan Webb, who's the CEO of the company, he gave me a call one day and we just was having a discussion about Brooklyn and about Appalachia and the similarities between, you know, these preventable diseases, 21 million, 23 million people just dying from things that we could prevent if we just eat healthy fruits and vegetables. And that's how the opportunity came. So I'm a big believer in the things that you seek are seeking you. And if you just passionate enough about anything, you know, the lines will connect. And that's all God, so.
Right. Yeah. Do any
Can I ask Jarrell about the farm? Because you said you're pivoting, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So do you still do traditional farming?
Yes, we do. So we right now, it's funny you say that, on our 40-acre farm, we have corn, which was our first crop. This was our 80th anniversary. So we went with corn again. And then I bought with my partners, a 25-acre farm in which we're pivoting into the hemp and CBD space. So we still have the traditional farm in which, we wanted to make sure that we still could do something for the community. So we have both of those aspects of our business, but we are looking to pivot into a larger capacity in the hemp and CBD space.
Mm-hmm. Now, doesn't CBD have to be produced?
Well, CBD is actually in the hemp plant. It's a cannabinoid. It can be extracted, and with extraction, it can come like this. What we have is a tincture. This is 1,000 milligram CBD isolate, so it's extracted into isolate form. And my great aunt actually uses this. She's 95. She has chronic arthritis, and she uses this for pain. So it's an array of forms that you can use it, whether it's topical salves, CBD extract, full spectrum tinctures, broad spectrum tinctures. There's an array.
Okay. Since I appreciate, I don't want to cut you off without you completing your whole dialogue. So know that you can, we can talk some more about this, because I do have some more questions about distribution.
For sure.
But in the meantime, I do know that we're going to try and stay on schedule, and we did get Al Harrington. I saw him a minute ago, but I don't see him anymore. So, but I think that means he's here.
Yeah, I think
Thank you all for your time.
Agriculture as well, so.
Did anybody see him? Is he still here?
Yeah, there he
is. Okay. Al, can you hear me? Your box says Street Credit Detroit. We appreciate you giving us some of that brand recognition.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? We just want to make sure people know who you are.
Hello.
And can you hear us? We can hear you. Can everybody hear Al? Okay, we can hear you, Al. Oh, there it is. Now it says Al. Cool. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
What's up?
What up, Al?
How y'all doing?
Good, man. We were just, finishing up with the agriculture session of our thing. We got Al here who's the CEO and founder of the Viola Cannabis brand, and just background on how you got started, and educate us on everything that is cannabis.
All right. Well, I got 5 days. No, but seriously, I started back in 2011. I had signed a contract with the Denver Nuggets back then. When I got there, cannabis was just becoming legal there from a medicinal standpoint. I was always a newspaper reader, so I would always read the newspaper every day, and every day was always something in there about the benefits of cannabis. And what I didn't know was it was preparing me for a day, right? It was for a moment, actually. And it was when my grandmother was 79 years old. I convinced her to come out and, come see me play. And she got there and started taking all this medication and stuff. And, I finally got to the point where I was like, Grandma, why are you taking so much medicine? And she told me, the list of, I always say the list of that Black grandmothers have, right? High blood pressure, diabetes, glaucoma, all of it. But when she said glaucoma, I was like, Grandma, I was just reading something in the newspaper the other day about cannabis helping glaucoma patients. And, we talked a little bit, and finally I kept calling it cannabis. So she said, well, what is cannabis? And I was like, marijuana, weed. And she's like, reefer? She's like, boy, I ain't smoking no reefer. You out your mind. Reefer ain't gonna help my eyes. And I was like, well, nah, Grandma. I was like, this is medical reefer. You should give it a try. And she just told me no. She shut me down. So eventually, the next day I came home and, she was, you know, complaining about her eyes, you know, hurting again. And she was just like, you know, I started talking to her about it again. She said, you know, I'm in so much pain today, I'll try anything. So I called my boy. He went to the dispensary, bought back some Vietnam Kush. We vaporized it for her in a volcano of all things, had her try it. She hit it 3 or 4 times. She ain't call for nothing. So I'm looking at her like, Grandma, you sure you don't smoke the reefer? Like, but you know, she just told me, she was just like, she smoked a cigarette one time when she was 16 years old is what she told me. So I took her downstairs. I went and took a nap without a game. So I woke up an hour and a half later, and I said, let me go check on her, because for me at that point, I had smoked weed one time in my life. And I remember I was so paranoid, like I couldn't leave my room that night. Right. So I said, let me just go make sure she's doing okay. So I go downstairs and the door's closed. So I knock on the door and I poke my head through the door. And of course I had a smirk on my face, not knowing what to expect. I'm thinking she might be jumping on the bed, climbing the walls, anything. But she was sitting with her back to me. And I said, Grandma, how you feeling? And literally, guys, I'm not lying. She turned around and she was crying tears. She said, I'm healed. She said, you know, I haven't been able to read the words of my Bible in over 3 years. And I went in the room, she made me cry, so we both crying. And, you know, that started my journey with cannabis. You know, I started really reading up, educating myself. A year later, I made my first investment where, you know, all of my patients either had HIV or cancer that I was actually growing cannabis for. And, you know, now, you know, 9 years later, you know, I'm the biggest Black-owned, you know, multi-state operator in the country. And it was just the beginning for us. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that we're doing that's growing our brand nationally. You know, we're a purposeful brand, so our brand is all about uplifting and empowering, educating, and creating opportunities for people of color, specifically Black people. And, you know, that's what we're on, and that's what we're doing every day, just trying to help create generational wealth for our people.
So, wow. Yeah, that's amazing. You know, me being a former athlete, you know what I'm saying? I actually played with you, you know, with the Knicks for a minute. Yeah. You know, there was a brief time, but it was probably some of the best time of my life. You know what I'm saying? It was my man, Bradley. He's with App Harvest. He's from Brooklyn, New York, but he played with the University of Kentucky. He's a part of the
I don't know. We was at IMG. You know, Joe Budazar in the days.
Yep. That's when we used to work out all the time, all day, every day. That's all we could do down there.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, he's a part of, you know, App Harvest, which is going to be the largest controlled agriculture facility in the United States, and they're going to be supplying, you know, fruits and vegetables to 80% of the United States. Then I got Jarrell Howard, who was he's the CEO of Gold Standard, who was also at Kentucky with me. You know, so, you know, it's just beautiful seeing Black people jump into, you know, business and being CEOs and things like that. And I know for me, you know, my basketball career kind of ended faster than I ever thought it would. But the thing that I liked about entrepreneurship and business is, you know, being on a team, you're looking for the GM or somebody to cut you a check. What I liked about business is you can create your own cap. There ain't no limit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, could you speak on just maybe some of the struggles in the transition and really figuring out, you know, business and just really becoming a CEO?
Yeah, man. It's just like anything. I mean, hoop is all the same thing, man. It all starts from hard work and dedication. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's not easy. Nothing's easy in life that's worth getting. And then obviously, you know, when you talk about the success that, you know, the plateaus that we would like to see for success, you know what I'm saying? You know, you're going to have to grind, you know what I'm saying? And one of the things, like, you know, I push in my company is no one will outwork us. You know, I believe in the 10,000 hour rule. You know, 10,000 hours in anything makes you an expert. You know, I had learned that early. Somebody told me that, I think, when I was maybe a sophomore in high school. And I think that's why, for me, like, I went from, you know, unknown freshman, barely played as a freshman, to getting drafted out of high school. Because when I heard things like that, it inspired me and was like, well, listen, if you want to be great at hoop, you're going to have to put the time in. And it's the same thing with business. You know, for me, in cannabis, you know, why I get a lot of respect in the industry, especially being a professional athlete. You know, a lot of times in the beginning, you know, I was getting shunned, right? It was just like, oh, he don't care about weed. It's just he got money and he sees a money opportunity.
And, you know, for me, like, you know, I wanted to get the respect of the OGs, just like I got respect of the veterans in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? I got that respect from my work ethic. And it's the same thing in cannabis. Now all the legacy growers and the legacy brands, they respect me. They, you know, they pull for me. They actually support me because they know, you know, that I took this very serious and that I really came in and I put that work in, you know? And, you know, as an entrepreneur, like, you just have to really have a motor. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to push through anything. You have to believe in your ideas more than anybody, and you can't let nothing get in the way. You know, I've definitely experienced that. You know, obviously, you know, I raised $30 million to date in my company. And, you know, everybody would think that that would be easy, right? Because I'm a player and I got friends, but that's not the truth because, you know, I have haters, right? I have financial advisors that tell, you know, my homeboys who are athletes, like, what does Al know about weed? What does he know about business? What college did he? He didn't even go to college. Why would you put that kind of money with someone that don't have a background? And, you know, for me, I was like, okay. I just kept pushing, and to the point where when I started to have some wins and the brand started getting everywhere, and now these same guys are coming and wanting to invest, but now it's way more expensive. You know what I'm saying? Now for them to be a part, you know what I mean? So it's just really about just grinding, you know, like I said, believing in yourself, not letting no one, you know, put any doubt in your mind. And I will say, being that we were professional athletes, I think that definitely helped me get to where I am today, even in this business, because I always tell people, it's not even that we're just, you know, obviously we are some of the best 450 players in the world, but there's definitely another 450 that may be just as good, right? But it's our mental capacity, is the fact that a lot of us, we don't really have a concept of reality, right? We all believe that we're Superman, you know what I'm saying? And nothing can stop us. There's nothing that we can't do. And that's the reason why we make it as far as we make it. And that's why guys like myself, you know, I think it's levels to it. That's why a guy like me could play 16 years and different things like that. You know what I'm saying? It's because of that belief that I had in myself. So I kind of take all of that into the business world.
Right. Yeah, man.
Question in?
Go ahead, Mom.
I just want to, because I know you got your establishment here in Detroit.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a two-part question. One part is, you know, when in your process did you choose Detroit? But the big question I have is because I know I kind of call it business racial profiling, because you had an incident here at one time. You know, you were one of the first, you know, you were kind of leading the pack here before Detroit had even established its law, you know, passed
state laws.
So I just want to hear, you know, because you overcame that, and I just want to know a little bit of background on that, because that kind of reminds me of what we go through today, not in business, but just riding around in our communities and some of the things that are happening with our, you know, our brothers and sisters. Is that, that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate. I mean, to touch base on that, it makes me mad every time I think about it. But, you know, I had a decision to decide to either come into the Arizona market or go into the Michigan market. And during that time is when I was starting to, you know, realize, you know, my purpose, right, in regards to, you know, trying to help our people. And I just felt like it was more of our people in Detroit than it was in me trying to be in Phoenix, Arizona, right? So that's what made me choose that. When I got there, you know, my business partner or my co-founder of my company, you know, when we first started, he was a caregiver in Michigan. So he always knew about the market. And, you know, one day another acquaintance of mine had called me about the Michigan market. He was like, yo, it's a layup out here. We could get stores for nothing. Blah, blah, it's cheap. Let's go out here. So we went, and he had me meet with some guys. And, you know, I could tell, like, you know, after 30 minutes of being with the guys, they was full of SHIT, right? But what they did show me an opportunity, right? That I saw, like, okay, if I could figure this out myself, like, this is a real opportunity. So long story short, I left. My cousin called me, like, you know, maybe 2 months later, and he was like, bro, I found a building. So I was like, where? He's like, I found a building in Detroit. You got to see it. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I fly to Detroit, and I see the building, and I'm like, what are we going to do with this building? It's a piece of building. I'm like, what are we going to do with it? He like, you got to have vision, bro. This building, we could do all this stuff with this building. So I was like, all right, cool. He convinced me. So I was like, all right, well, how are we going to fund this building? He was like, well, he said, that's what I got you for. We got to figure out, we got to figure out how to fund the building. So I was like, all right, cool. So I called a couple of my homeboys, my closest friends, and pretty much they told me yes. You know what I'm saying? So we went, we fixed this building up. Oh my God. I mean, it took us forever. We got all these permits. I mean, part of the city at that time, they made me like fix the building that was next to me. They made me repave the driveway, put a new gate around the whole thing. Like, I mean, they made me jump through every hoop. So finally get to the point where we ready to grow. So we get in there, we start growing. We got all our permits from the city, and we even got something from the state that said that we were legal. Long story short, we having our first harvest. One day my aunt calls me and she's like, I think we getting robbed. So I'm like, we getting robbed. She like, go look on the cameras. So I go look on the cameras and I see plainclothes people like running up on the warehouse, but they got like ARs and all kind of stuff. I'm like, oh my God. So I start praying. Long story short, last thing that I saw on the camera was my aunt walking to the door when she realized that it was police. She walked to the door with paperwork. As soon as she got to the door with the paperwork, AR to her face, paperwork drops, and then they cut the cameras. So now I don't see anything. So long story short, they arrest 6 people. I fly in. It took me 4 days to get them out of jail, go through the whole process, and the city was wrong. Right, it was an illegal raid, but you know how it is. You know, in the industry, you know, when the police make a mistake, just like how they execute us on camera, is they never held accountable. It's just like, okay, they made a mistake, they had that immunity, so it's no issue. So one of the reasons I'm happy you brought this up, because I like to speak on this, is because, you know, if it wasn't Al Harrington with the resources that I had, like, we would have been guilty. You know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't have been able to hire 6 attorneys. I wasn't able to do my own investigation. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have been able to do all those things. I wouldn't have been able to keep the lights on. I wouldn't have been able to continue to pay the rent. You know what I'm saying? Because once we get raided, like, my landlord still want his money. You know what I'm saying? The electricity people still want, all the bills don't stop. You know what I'm saying? But I was able to keep it going. And to be honest, like, you know, we've lost, you know, that raid cost my company between $20 and $30 million, like, being all the way honest. You know what I'm saying? And you think about, like, you know, where I am today, you know, I'm still raising money. Like, if that everything went perfect with that situation, like, I probably wouldn't even be having to raise money right now. And maybe I might even be a little further along than I am today. But the point to it is, like, the reason why I like to talk about this is because it's really about us having these cities and our legislators hold police officers accountable. Because if it wasn't Al Harrington, I know other people that put their last in. You know, they go and find 10, 20 of their friends that put up $5,000, $10,000 each, which is everything to their name, for this opportunity. And the police can come and just raid their facility, and then they be completely out of the game. You know what I'm saying? And that's just not right. And they need to be held more accountable than that.
Right. Wow. But thanks for sharing that, because, you know, I was happy to hear you guys came out victorious.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we finally, things is good for us. We just had our new harvest. This week we sold all of it in 4 days. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So the market is really open and receptive to us. So big shout out to Detroit. Thanks for all the love. And, you know, we plan on giving a lot of love back. You know what I'm saying? Once we get our foundation set.
Yeah, and that's crazy, man, because I think a couple years ago, I was running around my neighborhood, and I seen the Viola stuff in the neighborhood. I'm like, okay, he's really out here. He's not just saying in Detroit or whatever. He really in the neighborhoods, passing out stuff, doing charity work. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to see. And Detroit is a city like that. Is if you come out here and, you know, you really out here, they're going to be supportive. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure, man. It's all about the grassroots, man. It's like, I always say that's how you keep yourself from, you know, having issues with people in Detroit and getting robbed and all this other stuff. If you come in, pay homage, be humble, and you know what I'm saying, and allow people to, you know, enjoy in the success. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the community will protect you. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, that's my biggest thing is, like, you know, I look like most of the people that live in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm looking for them to support me. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I always say, like, you know, the company that we building is like, you know, we got the fire strains, we got the fire packaging, we got the fire lifestyle pieces with the clothing and all the other stuff that we do. It's like, if you Black and don't support us, you a hater. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you not want to see us do well, especially in regards to, you know, the way that we out here representing for our people.
Mm-hmm. Facts. Do anybody else have like any questions?
Big shout out to Jarrell.
Yeah, we just
there was a question from someone, one of the attendees. They said, how have you navigated the stigmas related to the cannabis industry as a long-standing business owner with significant market share?
I don't know. I just think that number one, my grandmother's story helps me a lot, right, when I walk into any room, because, you know, obviously I speak to a lot of the church leaders, because this is the issue, right? You know, we're so caught up in the stigma of seeing what it did to our community, which makes sense, right? I mean, we saw it destroyed our community. Like, you know, it's locked our brothers and fathers up, which affected the mothers, you know what I'm saying? Which obviously affected the children being put in programs and putting them in the system. You know what I'm saying? So when you hear about cannabis in your community after you've seen all that, you just can't wrap your head around it. But the thing about it is, like, they've lied to us. You know what I'm saying? They've lied to us for a very long time, and then they use this plant to, like I said, to destroy our community. So now this new billion-dollar, trillion-dollar opportunity is dominated by white male to the tune of 96%. Yeah. So my whole thing is, like, when I talk to people and these church leaders and stuff, I'm like, listen, it's coming either way. You're not going to be able to stop it. You understand what I'm saying? Cannabis will be offered in, you know, bodegas and liquor stores potentially eventually, right? Which are going to be in your communities anyway, right? At the end of the day, they lied to us and telling us that it was a drug and that it was a gateway drug and all these different things. Cannabis actually helps us. You know what I'm saying? I have so many people in my life or smokers that I know that if it wasn't for cannabis, they would be in jail. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, this is something that, you know, that we really use to cope and, you know, deal with a lot of anxiety and a lot of issues that we have. But like I said, we've been incarcerated for it. So my point being is, like, if we continue to feel this way, we're going to lose out on another industry that was created on our backs. You know, when you think about rice, sugar, cotton, the liquor industry, the lottery, all that was us. We was running numbers, right? And what they did, they took it, and we have no ownership in it. So if we continue to be in that old mindset of that old stigma and all that, we're going to be customers again, and it's going to be in our communities, and we're going to be sitting here complaining again about reparations and all this other stuff, which they're not going to ever give us anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like right now is a unique time in history where this is an industry where I feel like we dominate that industry. We dominate every industry. You know what I'm saying? Fashion, sports, music, it's all us. If it's not us, I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's time for us to take ownership in that. And you just need people to change their stigma. And outside of that, I would say when I'm walking to these white rooms and stuff like that, we may be there for a real estate meeting, a tech meeting. But as soon as I say that I'll do cannabis, everything comes my way. You know what I'm saying? All attention comes my way. So in their communities, the stigma has changed. They're trying to figure out how do they make billions of dollars off of it, when ours is still thinking this old mindset. And, you know, that's something I'm definitely trying to change through education.
Yeah. Well, just secondary, I'm like, if you ever need some help with influencer and social in the city of Detroit, I'm here.
Okay. Did we lose that? Oh, there he is. Yeah. Any other questions? There's some appreciation though in the comments.
The service went bad.
So people are asking how to support your product. We can certainly add should we add your Instagram account in the chat, because there's some questions as to how they can support you. Al,
I think you said his service went bad.
Say that again.
Service went bad.
Yeah. Website? Al froze, so somebody help me, or I can. I
mean, you could go visit it at I think on Instagram at
It's definitely on Instagram. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If you give me that, I'll type it in.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions for Al?
His service bad. He's not gonna be able to hear us. Let's.
Yeah. Oh, he said his signal was bad.
Yeah.
Okay. We do have to toast him. Where'd he go?
His signal's bad.
Okay. To you, Al.
Yeah.
And much more cannabis. And we didn't toast Jarrell and Ramel.
Right.
Ramel, continued product, healthy, urban centered. I'm looking forward to tasting it. I'm gonna tell you that since it's gonna. You said 80% of the nation you're gonna distribute it.
Yeah, we'll be in all of the top 25 grocery stores. So we'll be in a few stores in Detroit for sure.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be under organic?
No. Traditionally, our term or the way we grow is hydroponic.
Say that again.
Hydroponic. Yeah.
Oh, is that there's not a category right now, is it?
It's just a new way of growing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new way of growing using a water-based nutrient solution that's applied directly to the roots of the plant.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look for that at my neighborhood grocer.
Okay. App Harvest. Don't forget the name. App Harvest.
So, do we toast everyone?
Yeah.
And okay, so our next guest is Rafa Wright. So, welcome, Rafa Wright. And we were just talking about groceries. So, you're gonna have to get you a hydroponic section.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
What's good, player?
What's good, man? You all right?
I'm good. Good to chop it up with you, man. I'm
My
not
waves banging right now.
True.
And we should probably say the name of his company, Neighborhood Grocery.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. You like your hustle, one of my favorites in the city, bro. I like how you move. All your companies is built around, like, I feel like circulating the dollar in the community, which, you know, that's what street cred is all about. That's what the Black community in the whole needs to, you know, really start to focus on and keep that dollar in our hood, you know. So I wanted to start off, you wrote a book, you know, it's called Make the Hood Great Again. So I wanted for you to describe, what does that look like to you?
Making the hood great again for me is just everybody in the community, whatever that is, being solved in some way, shape, or form, whether it's politically, economically, socially, everybody being united under a certain goal, task, and seeing it all the way through. I think in our inner city, America, we all got same common problems. You know, most of them are, you know, a combination of all of that: political, economic, socially, educational. So we just got to be united, actively working towards solving those issues, and just getting back to that village mindset that, you know, Black people, we need that village, you know what I'm saying, mentality. You know what I'm saying? So making the hood great again is bringing that back for me.
I feel that. And how would you say, if you could put it into words, what is like a route to go about doing that, you would say?
I think we're seeing it now, man, with you know, the protests and the things that's going on now, like unity. That's the first word that kind of come to mind, is us being united. We all, you know, we all chase bags. We all, you know what I'm saying, try to get money. But once we get money, you know, what are we going to be doing with it? You know what I'm saying? So aside from having money, we got to really think about the bigger picture. You know, once we unified is, you know, we really have to start tackling, you know, our education system, our legal system, justice system, the economic foundation, the political infrastructure. We really got to tackle all those things. But I think we're seeing it right now with everything that's going on. And I think that this virus really kind of woke everybody up now. We all kind of moving different on, you know, what we really need to do outside of just making some money. You know what I'm saying? And we've been we've been hearing it for the past hour about health, and health is so important, you know what I'm saying? And whoever controls the food really control your community. You know what I mean? So seeing that conversation be had and seeing people actually do it, it's a blessing, and I'm happy to be a part of that fight too.
And you saying that is kind of leading into my next question, because you are leading this campaign to starting a grocery store in the streets. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that I think, like, we need more of in Detroit. Like, you can go to places like New York, there's bodegas where people can walk down the street and get their dinner for that night. You know what I mean? But it's tough in Detroit because you got to hire or drive further, and not everybody don't have access to cars or just to be able to go do things like that. So what was your motivation behind, you know, that really wanting to put a grocery store in the hood?
Just my last statement, like, whoever, like, I'm in the, for probably, I've been an entrepreneur full time for probably about a decade. You know, so I'm 30, but I really started going hard when I was like 20. Mm-hmm. At some point, probably around about 23, 24, I started thinking about community development. You know what I'm saying? Like, you reach that social glass ceiling where it's like, I done made all the money I could make. I'm driving the cars, but I'm in that Shark Tank. Like, I'm in the hood with the vultures. I got a BMW or a Benz or a nice car, and I'm like, somebody might rob me for this tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking about how can I help everybody else get on and have that same feeling, this thing that I got. So I started thinking about community development. The first step to that is food. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoever controls the food supply or the food in your community controls the community. They control your wealth or your poverty, your social trajectory, like how we behave is because of what we eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talk about crack babies and all that, but just think about if you ate Cheetos since you was 3 every day. And then you 16, you gonna be a clown, or you gonna be, you know, so you gonna trip out. So, you know, food, whoever leads your community feed, you know what I'm saying, they feeding you, you know what I mean? So this community development step, it starts with food. And, you know, I don't want it to end there, but it has to start with us having control over our food, owning grocery stores. You know, we see urban gardening becoming that thing. So growing our food, distributing our food, but actually selling our food and controlling it is where it started for me.
Facts. You also, with that, you had a cool concept. You was letting, like, pretty much anybody who was interested in the idea invest in it. Like, I think it was a GoFundMe or something you started, which was, you know, goes along with community development, which is dope, to even allow people to, like, give people that opportunity. So were you, like, thinking about, you know, like, did you come up with that concept trying to empower people other than yourself, or what you know, what was the idea behind it?
Exactly that. Aside from, you know, once I got into this project, I didn't know how difficult it was to actually fund a food project, not alone a grocery store. Mm-hmm. So aside from this, the obvious, you know, this is a fundraising investment strategy. It's an opportunity for access. Like, everybody got $1 million dreams that I know, but everybody don't got $1 million credit. Everybody don't have $1 million. So being able to have access to a project like this gives you, you know, that opportunity to cut your teeth a little bit, you know what I'm saying, to learn the ins and outs of these types of projects. And, you know, I've had some mid-level projects where I've had the access. Everybody don't have it, especially when you got, you know, our skin color. You know, you try, you know, you can see a building for sale, but try walking up to it and buying it from a cow den or something like that. You know, just because it's for sale don't mean they're going to sell it to you. You know, so having the community behind you in that way, I think that's the greatest form of protest as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we can walk up to this building as a community and say, hey, we need that, and we got the money to get that. If you don't sell it to us, you're going to have some consequences. You know, that's the greatest form of protest. So I'm using it for several things outside of just that investment strategy. But it was mainly just to give people an opportunity to own something in their neighborhood and replicate that model to buy other stuff. Like, it's not supposed to end at grocery. Like, we can buy every building on the block. We should be able to start whatever business we want by ourselves. We shouldn't have to go to the bank or, you know, be begging city leaders to give us a grant or give us help when every neighborhood got at least 10,000 people. You know, just if everybody gave $1 towards like an investment fund, we can buy the whole neighborhood back. You know what I mean? So I just want to wake people up to that we really have a lot of power if we just work together and we can get it done.
Mm-hmm. And that's a misconception of entrepreneurship, where people always think Fortune 500, like multi-millions off their idea. And you kind of, what I liked about what you do is, though your businesses could grow to that, they're more so like self-sustaining businesses that, like you say, improve the environment it's in. You know what I mean? And I wanted to talk a little bit about that misconception of entrepreneurship, where people feel like they got to come up with this $1 billion idea, when you can really just start a lot of smaller ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like you got the auto shop, you got the grocery store, you can have, this it's a laundromat across from the crib that be packed every day. I know they doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
People don't think about those kind of businesses. So, like, what advice would you give to people who maybe in their first startup, you know, and or just thinking about the fact that they want to get into entrepreneurship?
I mean, just honestly, I think because we, in our generation, or maybe just people a little bit older than us, they want to be creative. So they want to do the stuff that's cool. Like, people you don't see grocery stores in the hood, not just because people don't want to open them to help feed us, but that's just not a cool job. Like, who want to be in the grocery store all day? Who want to run a laundromat? Who want to be a mechanic? So, like, when I can do what I see in the music videos and all of that, but little do you know, those businesses are anchors in your community. And we all got to eat. Just like we all going to need a mechanic. We all going to need these things. And you talking about getting money, well, you can't be a beggar and a chooser. You want the money, or do you want to be famous? Well, getting the money, you may not be famous or cute. You know what I'm saying? You might get dirty, or you might have to be in a grocery store, be a grocer. Like, but that money ain't never going to go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But it springs off all the cool stuff. Like, you know, I'm in media myself. I wrote a few books. I got a clothing line, but all that came from steady money that's just never gonna go nowhere, from the auto business. I've been in the auto business for a decade too. So, you know, you need those things in the community. And that's another reason why our communities don't really have the solvency that it needs, because who's really trying to open up a grocery store? Who's really trying to do the stuff that nobody wants to do? You know what I mean? So
they can get real.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's the first thing that people want to, you know, want to look at. How can I kind of stabilize my environment above just trying to make a bunch of money and look cool doing it? Entrepreneurship ain't always cute. Right. You know what I mean? So.
Right. And that's what people forget before they get into it, because of how it's been glorified. But we running a little long time. I got one more question. It's about back circulating the dollar. It's like we got all these black-owned companies, especially in Detroit. Detroit is Michigan in general is one of the places with the most black-owned businesses. And a lot of them, you know, correlate with each other, but not a lot of people are, you know, reaching out and doing business together. And to really circulate that dollar, I think you need more communication amongst the black-owned businesses.
Yeah,
and that's a tough thing. It's been tough to kind of do, because, you know, in our community we got this competitive nature with each other. But so, what would you say? You know, like, how can we focus on like coming together to really help make the dollar circulate?
Drop the ego, number one. But, you know, we need buying clubs. You know, like I always talked about this with like clothing lines. You know, if y'all are buying from the same supplier, because most of them are, you know, most of us, we rock with the same plug. Is it gonna be cheaper if you spend $10,000, he spent $10,000, or you give the $30,000 to one person and go get the bag? It's gonna be cheaper. You know what I'm saying? The moment we understand that if all we got to do is just stand up and kind of just lock hands and walk in the door together, everything will be easier. So we got to drop the ego, but it's an unlearning and relearning thing that's required as well. Like, we really have to understand that we really have, they did a lot of work on us as a community, you know what I'm saying, as Black people. So we have really been separated from, again, that village mentality. We just don't understand the power of teamwork or collaboration. Everything is always, I got to be the number one person. Once you drop that, everything will be so much easier. Like, we can really get a lot of money. We can really expand if we saving a little bit. You know, a dollar saved is a dollar made. And, you know, a lot of people want entrepreneurs. They're not real entrepreneurs. They don't understand that until they get into a business like Street Cred or 3K Auto, Make the Hood Great Again, or Neighborhood Grocery. Once you get into the fire, then you understand collaboration is really the only way you're going to survive. I can't open a grocery store if I'm going up against 70 Chaldean stores by myself. I'm going to need other stores. I'm going to need other people doing this too. So we got to work together and we got to collaborate and really consolidate. And that's really what it boils down to. You know what I mean? I know we low on time, so just we got to find ways to consolidate. That ain't going to take away from my sauce or your sauce. You can still do your design. I'm going to do my thing, but we buying together and we just take our bag to the east side. You go to the west side or whatever the case may be, we'll be straight.
Facts, man. So I appreciate, you know, you spending time with us for Detroit Startup Week. We want to make sure we get this toast off to you. Keep hustling, man. You've been an inspiration to the city. You've been inspiring people to be entrepreneurs and to circulate that dollar, and we appreciate that. So
appreciate y'all, man. I love everything y'all doing. I love the whole Crawford mob. I love Street Cred. Time I come in there, it's just a beautiful feeling, man. I love y'all.
Appreciate you, man. Yeah. You on mute, mom. You be talking on mute. But just to tell.
I'm sure a picture is worth 1,000 words. Post time.
Yeah.
This is my favorite time. Thank you, everyone who's been here. There's a few comments. First of all, we had Rafa, and Rafa did say that he has, not Rafa, but Rafa did mention his own books. But also, I think it was Jarrell that said he had a couple books. Is that right, Joe?
I didn't see that.
Okay, well, I don't want to, I'm having trouble scrolling.
A couple people want to buy Rafa's book, though. I don't know where to get it. Or we can say.
Okay. But we got some really positive comments. And let me see. Did we lose some of our participants?
Some of them, yeah.
Okay. Let's see what time it is. Does anybody know where we are? Because
it's about time for the, you know, the closing toast and shout out.
And we're going to leave that to our social entrepreneur. Did we give enough information about you?
No, I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Okay, do that.
So hi, everybody. Thank you all again for having me. I'm Amber. Some of you may know me as the Director of Social Media for the City of Detroit. Some of you may know me as Social in the City, which is my personal brand. We're the founder of Black Women Do Social. And some of y'all just might know me from the Turn Up, and that's okay, because my brand and my being is all about being your authentic self in all of the spaces that you occupy, and being paid to essentially be yourself. So through my company, Social in the City, which is in early revenue stage, I pretty much am a creative entrepreneur, and I market through social media. So social media strategy, content planning and direction. I do influencer work for pretty much everybody, especially here in Detroit and some people in some other cities, and I'm expanding there as well. Curate music as a playlist princess, do brand modeling. So pretty much I write poetry and perform that as well. So any way that I feel drawn to show up in the world, I try to do that. And I'm fortunate enough that people accept me in that way. So first and foremost, I just want to encourage everybody who's watching, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, to just do your own thing, and you will be blessed and rewarded for it, because that's the most important, following your gut, going with what you know, and kind of silencing haters, distractions, however you consider that noise. I'm very fortunate to be here today because I was so inspired by the conversation from the various entrepreneurs, from authors to agriculture, to agri-tech and cannabis, to grocery, to fashion and sustainability. And I think I was telling Leah, a lot of these topics are things that we talk about regularly. So it's always nice to see people who are doing that work in those industries in their everyday lives. So thank you all to you. I just want to take this time to thank StreetCred, thank Detroit Startup Week for consistently being on for not only entrepreneurs, but the community in the city of Detroit. Like Rob said, without that community, like, we can't exist, we can't thrive. And the sustainability of ourselves and our communities is based in our collaboration and our partnerships. So having worked with some of you all, supported some of your work, and just meeting some of y'all for the first time, it's truly an honor to be here. So I want to go ahead and encourage you, if you have your drink, to raise your glass.
Big glass.
As we close out Detroit Startup Week for the 3rd annual Toast to Entrepreneurs with StreetCred. Cheers to you.
Cheers.